Hi, this is Christine Beckwith coming to you from the MBA Annual Convention in Washington, D.C. Today I have here Sue Woodard from Total Expert. She is the CCO.
Chief
right?
Customer
I got that
Officer.
right.
You
Great.
got it.
And today we have another episode of the new show on Mortgage News Network, Power Womnn with Class, sponsored by Class Appraisal. So we're super excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So we want to go all the way back to the beginning of Sue Woodard's career. Tell us what that year was like.
It was, I actually had a very interesting start to the mortgage industry. I was in financial services starting 28 years ago, right? So I was working at a credit union, and I was doing checking accounts and car loans and things like that. And the branch that I worked in actually got robbed 3 times. The third time, it was one of my best friends, my roommate at the time, was robbed at gunpoint.
Oh my God.
And it was kind of like this, I went down with her to the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. We had to look at lineups and all these things. And I literally had this moment where I thought, I've got to look into a different job because it's too dangerous to keep working in this branch. And the only job that was open was a mortgage processor. And so I didn't know what that was, but I was like, hey,
I'm taking it.
It's a different branch, so I can move. So that was literally how I got into the mortgage industry, was fear for my life. So everybody's got an interesting story about how they got in.
We all get into it sideways. Nobody says, I want to be a loan officer when I grow up.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So take us from there, to expand a little.
Yeah,
so
from there, I literally started as a processor, which for me was a great education. Then moving into being an originator, and I originated for years and years and loved originating. Actually, the company I was with at the time, Countrywide, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
We had such an interesting setup. We actually were cradle to grave. So we could originate, process, underwrite, close, which at the time was such a great education. So for me as an originator, it was a great jump start to going solely into origination from there, which I stayed in for many, many years until I started to make the shift into the vendor side and technology.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I mean, so many of us got our start, me as well, loan originating and loan processing, by the way, a couple years, and then went over to sales, so the same thing. So now think back to that girl then.
Yeah.
And now you know everything. You've amassed all this, wealth of information, experience. You've gone through all the things we all go through. What would you tell that girl?
It's interesting, and I certainly don't know everything. And what I'll tell you that I would tell that girl, I still have to tell myself every now and again, but it is to trust your gut and your intuition, because I found so many critical times during the course of my career when something inside was telling me, like, no, that's not the right way to do it. This would be the right way to do it. But I allowed myself, I think, to be talked out of my viewpoint on something, and I didn't follow my instinct and kind of stood down to people that were either more experienced or more, whatever, just had more, more long time in the game or what have you.
Longevity.
And so I that would be the piece of advice, is trust that little voice inside, trust that intuition, and move on it. Because
I talk a lot about that little voice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you bring it up, because I think that haunts us, and as people, not just as women. I think, we all have the voice in our head. So that's great advice, of course. Now I want you to tell me, of all the years you've put down, what was the highlight? Like, what was the proudest moment in your career?
I don't know if I would say there's been a specific moment that I would pin it on, but I would say some of the things I'm proud of when you look back at, you've been in the industry a long time too. What I'm proud of is looking back and really seeing how our industry has evolved. And I think especially how women have grown together. I think there's a different bond that I've started to see over the years in terms of, that was kind of an old thing back in the day, is, women were pretty rough on each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And
very
so
much true.
It's been exciting and very proud, I think, moment for me just to see the evolution of the industry.
I agree with that.
We as female professionals supporting each other, that's a really proud moment, seeing all these things happening where just the number of women, and you and I both know, the connection we have with so many other fantastic, female professionals. I love that we're here standing together, supporting each other.
I agree,
it's awesome.
100%. And I want to personally thank you for everything you've done to help me. Sue even was on my recent announcement into my coaching company, and I couldn't think of anyone better, industry coaches to help me. But there's a sense of community, of lifting. Marsha Davies, who's also going to be on our show. Yeah. She's just done an amazing job of helping women and set that tone. So I'm so glad too, because it really has evolved from where it was. So we all do a lot of work, but we also are known to be multitaskers, and we have our hands in everything. We're mothers, we're homemakers, we're doing all these things, but we're also philanthropists, and we're involved in a lot of charity, a lot of mentoring. What is your cause?
Yeah, well, there's a couple, and actually, I'll tell you, another fantastic woman in the industry, Ginger Bell, shared with me something once where she talked about that she teaches her kids to give palm down, meaning that a lot of people give something, but when the gift is taken, somebody's standing there with their palm out saying, now what do you got for me?
Yeah.
She said, you give palm down so that you give something and then you just take it away. And I think we've been given so much in this industry and so many opportunities. It's awesome to be able to give back. So a couple things I'm involved in. One thing is it's my daughter's sorority at college. It's a female, obviously it's all female sorority called Sigma Sigma Sigma, and they have brought me in as an honorary alumni initiate. So I get to come in and mentor these young women as they're, kind of going off into their professional lives, which has been really a neat experience. And I'm also really involved in a nonprofit called Hope for Youth, and that's really all about getting homeless youth off the streets. There's more attention that's paid to, homeless adults or families, and the kids very often are lost in the sauce. And so just in my home state of Minnesota, we have 6,000 youth on any given night between ages 16 and 23 that don't have a place to sleep. And you can imagine as we get into winter months, that's, a really serious thing.
Heartbreaking.
So we're, in Minnesota now looking to branch out and help share our kind of share what we're doing, our best practices with other parts of the country. But Hope for Youth is a really important cause for me.
Oh my God. You touch so many lives. Like what, just in the last year, you and I run into each other out on the convention speaking circuit, but just what you've done, you're always on point. So many of the women that are on this show are the same way, always on. People think we're super women, we're really not, but we definitely feel like we're maybe wearing the invisible cape every single day, for sure. But we also have mentors. We have people that came before us. We have people that we look up to, and you must have those people as well. So would you like to share one of those people?
Honestly, one of the people that I would think about right now, and I have amazing mentors, throughout my life, and inspirers, of which you to me are definitely one.
Thank you.
But one of the people right now that is just an incredible mentor to me is our president at Total Expert, Jeff Walton.
Awesome.
And he is actually, he's been in the industry a very long time, and one of his keys to success was he says, I bring in fantastic women into the business and then get the hell out of their way.
Love that. Empower them.
Right? So he's just, like I said, he's wise, he's knowledgeable, he's passionate about what we're doing, but he's been just a great mentor to me when you have those moments and you need that sounding board. A great source of wisdom and a great champion for the industry.
It's so funny because I think sometimes, we all have female mentors, but we have, as women that are in an elite group of small percentage of women that are, C-suite women in the banking industry, there are a lot of really wonderful men, and I want to highlight that on this show. I want them, we have men that have pulled us up, given us opportunities, that have been forward-thinking before their time. My CEO as well, 11 years ago, gave me that same opportunity and is just a beacon of light the same way, so that's great. So let's end on a really high note question here, and it's great because we're getting different perspectives from each women that are coming for each episode, but success is in our DNA, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
We are, in that situation where we have to define it for others. We have to live it. We live that example. What does success mean to Sue Woodard?
Yeah, success to me is about what we're going to leave behind, what your legacy is. And there's this great quote that I love, and I actually have it taped up on my monitor on my computer in my office, but it's a quote, and I think it's Pericles, but it goes, I'll slaughter it, but it goes something along the lines of what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but it's what is woven into the lives of others.
Yes.
And to me, that would be the greatest measure of success I could ever hope to have, is if I've had an impact on someone, if I've helped lift somebody up, if I have shared something that was helpful to them, if I've helped make a connection that they needed, things like that. That is the greatest joy.
Well, let me
and
tell you
success.
something. Well, you have done that in droves. You've done it for me. Last week I had a really emotional intersection where I was feeling really down, and you sensed that. You sent me a clip from Steve Harvey. It's called Jump. It's on YouTube. I watched it, and I paid it forward too, by the way. I watched it like 10 times, sent it to a bunch of people, but I needed that. So you really know you have the timing. the sense, the intuition of what people need. You're a true leader. You're inspiring to everyone. So thank you for being on our show and contributing.
Really.
So happy to have you. Sue Woodard from Total Expert, everyone. This is Christine Beckwith from Mortgage News Network with another episode of Power Women with Class. Thank you.
The American dream lives on for homeowners all across the country. At Class Valuation, we help lenders get more borrowers into the home of their dreams. Through innovation designed to reduce turn times and ensure accuracy, we help lenders exceed borrower expectations so that American dream lives on.
This is Mortgage News Network.